So I got both of these packages in the mail. I bought and ordered two, so that's sad. That's totally random because these packages were delivered at 2 different times, so but this is good now. I don't have to call and find out how to get my other one. They're each 100, so there's 200, roughly 200 feathers. And in this package, I got the notorious 40 yards of tulle that everybody buys for everything because it is a deal, it's a steal. It's not the best quality, but it is good. So I'll just use some other things in my stash if you can't hear me well enough, you know. And then I also left myself a sweet little note. That's not... Okay, well this is my note. I'll get to the other ones in just a minute here, but it says, I hope you enjoy this 1 in the morning impulse buy, even though you have never watched the Met Gala and didn't even know it happened until you watched a TikTok. I have 3 notes. The one says, happy birthday, Gigi loves you, from Gigi. Happy birthday, smiley face heart, from Gigi. And happy birthday, McKenna. Hope you have a great week. Gigi loves you, from Heart Gigi. McKenna didn't get her birthday letters unless these are duplicate copies that they sent to me. But I hope you have a wonderful birthday, McKenna, if you happen to be watching this and your Gigi loves you. Sincerely, Gigi. My heart is breaking for McKenna right now. Her Gigi is so sweet. She got her like a 14K white gold plated crescent moon pendant with her initial, LED letter lights with her remote. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. And this is what it says. It only took 11 years to be this awesome. Unicorn journal and sketchbook. Funny unicorn journal for 11-year-old girls. So happy 11th birthday, McKenna. Your Gigi loves you. Okay, so now that we have our materials figured out, it's time to really get down to the nitty-gritty of kind of dissecting this dress and figuring out what makes it work, how it's built, why it's built the way it is. On first glance, it looks like it's a basic white tulle ball gown and it has red feathers on top. Easy peasy. Silk bow on top, silk bow along the waist that you can kind of see here in this picture. It's kind of hard to see the waist bow, but I'm pretty certain it's there. It's just kind of being covered by feathers that are falling down on top of it and then feathers that are kind of poking up over it. And the reason the feathers are doing this is because they're not completely sewn down. Here you can kind of see on these images slightly, it's very grainy. It looks like there's a piece of metal or fishing line or something of that sort, something with a little bit of bounce to it and a little bit of structure, and it looks like there was like a pearl sewn to one end and then the other end is sewn to the feather. None of the feathers are actually sewn or gluing down onto the dress. They're all kind of floating off of the dress, and here you can kind of see on this picture. Now, the more I look at this dress, the more I'm thinking that this is one big skirt that is pulled up over the bust, under the underarms, and then cinched together with a waistband. I feel like it is because you can see some of the feathers being smashed on the top of the bodice, and you can also see some of the feathers being smashed like below the waistband, and it kind of looks like they're half covered up by that waistband. I could be wrong. It could be a waistband that's sewn in, but it was still sewn in after the feathers were added. I'm not 100% positive. Then if we look at the back, it kind of looks like this dress has a train, but I'm not really sure if that's just because Chloe is on the steps walking up, so it could just be that. You can also see here and here that it looks like the feathers are maybe a little darker in these areas, but then from this lovely front view, we see that maybe that's just more of a concentration of the feathers because of the folds folding in on themselves. And then it looks like this dress just has a basic zipper down the back. Anyway, so I think that's kind of like the basic breakdown of the dress. It doesn't seem too difficult to make. It does seem like there's like a lot of extra fluffy tulle kind of coming out from under the dress. I don't know if that would be, I guess, still over the hoop skirt. I'm assuming this dress has a hoop skirt. I don't know for sure, but we're just going to say that it does. So for the undergarments of this dress, I'll just be using my hoop skirt and a petticoat so that it isn't translucent. To gather the tulle, I'll be using this soft monofilament line. I'm just using this so it's a little more durable than a cotton or polyester thread. That way while I'm gathering, the thread doesn't snap on me. Fishing line would work. Okay, so here's the dress so far. It's basically just layers and layers of tulle gather up. There's nothing really holding it on me except the fact that I have this ribbon bunch underneath, and then I would have another ribbon over top. And then this is just my petticoat and hoop. And then what I think I'll do to add more layers and poof and just make it a little less translucent is I will make another skirt with tulle to put underneath. And yeah, anyway, so it's looking really, really good so far. I have found more pictures, better pictures that were not there before, and a lot of my suspicions were correct. And I also think that those probably are not snaps, as I previously had not really thought, but maybe had thought that it could be, possibly. I think it's just the little pearls that are connected to the feathers and that little springy wire or string that's holding the feathers on. It might just be the stem of the feather. I don't know what you would actually call that. Also, they're not pearls. I think they're little crystals, little pieces of metal, like a glue dot type thing. Not really sure. I'm also pretty certain that this is a tulle skirt, and it has this tulle overlay that has the feathers connected to it, and that was already all put together. I don't think the feathers were put on after the fact. Pretty certain they were already there when the dress was put together. I have 4 layers of tulle gathered up for the petticoats. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I just pin them together on the left and the right side, and I'll be pinning and sewing all the way down to make one big petticoat. And then I have the overskirt over here, which you saw on me earlier, as the dress. At this point, I'm still just draping on myself. None of these things have closures, and I'm just using that substitute blue ribbon for the moment. But this is what the over layer of tulle will look like with the petticoat underneath. I could probably use 1,000 more layers of tulle, but I'm using what I have. Last night before I went to bed, I also figured out how to take these really large feathers and cut them down into 4 feathers. I think they look okay. That one's a little weird. But yeah, they actually look pretty similar to the one on Chloe's dress. And then I'm not really sure, I might just glue the feathers, but if I end up wanting to create the pearl, aka the sequin, aka the gem, piece of metal, glue dot, we don't know what it is, but the fastener holding the feather and the little feather stem onto the tulle, I could use one little silver sequin. I bought these yesterday. And while I was at Walmart the other day, I went ahead and bought some of this wide, silky white ribbon to use for the waistband. This dress is going to have a few hundred feathers on it by the time I'm done with it, but I just put a few feathers on just to kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. And I do have to say, the red just looks absolutely stunning right on top of the white. I've whipped up this cute little slightly boned corset top. I made it really, really cropped. That way it sits just above my hoop skirt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all those layers of tulle and sew them along the top. I also found this reference photo. On this model, you can kind of see that the top ribbon waistband or bust band or whatever you want to call it is not covering up the exposed layers of tulle. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I have the skirt and the petties all sewn onto that little bodice. I'm just pinned in place right now. And I am totally having a little Tinkerbell moment. I definitely feel like a dandelion. Look at that! Do you see that? It is so poofy. And then once the waistband ribbon's down here, there you can see it's a little more dress-like. I'm so happy with it. Underneath, I have this strong waistband, which I sewed in, and then I'm putting the silky material on top just so there's not as much pull and tension on it. So this is the top, that's the waist, and then I'm going to be making these 2 cute little bows. Not sure how it's going to turn out, but basically just the ribbon for the ties, and then this will be the middle knot. Yeah, super cute. So I took a lighter on some of the scrap pieces of ribbon to do a burn test to see if the edges would melt well. I just didn't like how it looked. It looked really unprofessional. It works great for some things, but for this it didn't. So I'm just going to seal it with some of this cheap nail polish, and I'll just put that along the edges to make sure that they don't fray. Here's where we're at with the dress so far. It's looking cute. Okay. Very swirly. Very good running dress. So now we just need to add all of the red feathers. So while I was outside taking the dress for a spin, I got a bug stuck in it. I'm so sad. And I thought it was a black fluffy or brown fluffy little fuzz ball, so I went ahead and I tried getting it out while I was wearing it because I couldn't see well enough. And then I realized that I just crushed a bug all up into the tulle. I cannot get it out. So, guess where a red feather is going? Right there, for sure, to cover up the bug. Also, look at my janky zipper work. Well, actually, it's not the zipper. The zipper turned out fine. It's the ribbon. It wasn't perfectly even, but you know what? Who cares? Throw a feather there, too. Feathers fix everything. And here's the moment you have all been waiting for, the grand reveal. Notice how I call it the grand reveal and not the finished dress? That's because I still haven't finished this dress. There are a lot of patchy spaces where I need to add more feathers, and I still need to add feathers to the bottom part of the dress. There's also a big patchy spot where I haven't added any feathers at all. Right here, that's the patchy spot, so I need to do that. Now what you're about to see is completely unrelated to this dress. I almost hit the peacock! My mom was following the GPS and it said go this way, not that way, and I was discussing with her how it wasn't the most direct route, but she was like, you know what, sometimes you just gotta take the scenic route. It's kind of fun. And all of a sudden, she almost hit a peacock. And you know what? Taking the scenic route was fun. So from now on, scenic route.
We went on a peacock and a goat field trip. They're adorable.
Oh yeah, there were also a lot of cute baby fluffy goats and even some cows. Anyway, so here I sit in my rainbow watercolor feather dress, sitting next to my Met Gala white red feather dress, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and glue on the rest of the feathers, otherwise it's never going to happen. So I just want to thank you for watching this video. Have a wonderful day and tune in for the next one. Bye!